Kotero, a 4-year-old boy, arrives at the Shimizu flat with his suitcase. He leaves his flat and goes to a general store where he buys some tissues and a toy sword. When he hears sounds coming from a nearby apartment, he is still writing something on the paper. His neighbor Karino's girlfriend is disputing with him about the reason he didn't come to meet her. Hiroma, the girlfriend, claims she waited outside for him in the cold, but he didn't come. When Karino refers to her as Hiroko, she becomes enraged and flees. As a gesture of goodwill, Kotero presents a tissue box for Karino and introduces himself. An unpopular manga author who is also single is Shin Karino. When it comes to cleanliness, he is incredibly slack. When Kotero returns to inquire about the bathtub, Karino informs him of the bathhouse. In the bathhouse, Karino washes Kotero's hair. On the drive home, they discuss their parents with one another. The following morning, Karino and Kotero visit the market, where they meet their neighbor Mizuki. She claims that Karino and Kotero look like father and son. He has questioned Karino about his parents, but he remains silent. Mizuki is working in a restaurant by the name of Miki. She gets a message from someone requesting money. Mizuki is discovered intoxicated in her flat by Kotero and Karino. She cries and Kotero gives her an ice bottle to soothe her eyes. By applying a hot pack to Karino's back, he also assists Karino. Because his son rejects it, Kotero's neighbor Tamaru brings him into his room and gives him a Tenosuman plush. Kotero returns Tamaru's gift because he disapproves of his attitude. He informs him that lying does not make him happy. On Karino's television, Kotero is enjoying his favorite Tenosuman enemy. Karino should tidy the room, he adds. Kotero says he likes Tenosuman. They notice a child in the bathhouse who refuses to return home. Because he doesn't need a cartoon or television at midnight, Kotero refers to him as lucky. Tamaru arrives to inquire as to what will be done with Tenosuman's climax. On the road in Tenyun, Kotero behaves like a Tenosuman. Tenosuman's end is being watched by Karino and Tamaru. Kotero informs Karino after the conclusion that he no longer requires his television. The following day, they both visit the bathhouse, but it is temporarily closed. Kotero's behavior has altered and he no longer approaches people, according to Karino. He explains to Mizuki that this is because he hasn't taken a bath in 2 days. The lights in Kotero's room are always on and Mizuki occasionally sees him outside the apartment late at night. His eye bags have been noted by them. He is welcomed by Mizuki to take baths. To make him happy, she spends time with him and even sleeps with him. Karino decides to bring Kotero to his residence the following day. Kotero shares with Karino that he had a lovely dream about Mizuki the night before. Kotero attends the kindergarten graduation alone. Kotero is the only student who is not accompanied by his parents. When a pupil inquires about his parents, he replies that they are present. To attend the ceremony, Tamaru, Mizuki, and Karino travel to Kotero's school. Every Wednesday is bento day, and Kotero always brings a Tenosuman bento in his lunchbox. He creates a bento using the ideas of store patrons. Kotero takes 2 balloons for his brother and sister, and 1 each for his father and mother. Kotero requests that Karino paint faces on balloons. Kotero is seen by the balloon man, who is holding the balloons like his relatives. Kotero goes with Karino to the publisher, who criticizes Karino's drawing as being out of date. Kotero speaks in Karino's defense. He purchases some fashionable clothing for himself since he wants to appear appealing and avoid attracting negative attention from others. Tamaru reassures him that being fashionable is not necessary to find love. Kotero responds to the policeman's inquiry about their relationship by stating that Tamaru is his friend and next-door neighbor. In a restaurant, Kotero pays a visit to Mizuki and makes everyone laugh with his kind and endearing emotions. Kotero's bill must be paid before Karino can pick him up. Kotero returns to Mizuki's restaurant because he wants to spend more time with her. She also brings him along on a picnic and Karino buys him ice cream. He runs away when Mizuki and Karino try to take his picture. He dislikes taking pictures. In his dream, his father appears at his school, yells for him, and asks for him. His father learns more about him through the website's image. Kotero and Mizuki are drawn by Karino in a drawing. Kotero doesn't have a bank account, so an attorney by the name of Ayano Kibayashi comes to him to give him some money. She is greeted kindly by Kotero, who also serves her food. The manager advises her not to inform him that the money is not a gift, but rather the proceeds of Kotero's mother's life insurance policy. To play with Kakeru, Kotero goes to his house. Yoshida, a housekeeper, looks after Kakeru while his parents are at work. A few days later, while fishing, Kotero counsels Kakeru not to rely on anyone. He educates him to be resilient without his parents and maid, and to become self-reliant in terms of defense. Kotero requests that Karino instruct him in the skill of ball catching. He is told by Karino that throwing and catching a ball are similar to having a discussion. Kotero is unable to pick up the dodgeball rules. He recalls his mother telling him that tossing the ball at someone who isn't prepared to catch it hurts, and that the ball is like a word. Kotero was advised by Karino to practice tossing the ball first so that he can learn how to catch it. Kotero attends a kindergarten birthday celebration. According to him, a birthday celebration consists just of blowing out the cake's candles. Kotero's birthday will be celebrated according to Tomoru and Mizuki. As soon as the cake is ready to be cut, Kotero takes it outside to celebrate with his animal buddies. Takuya, who is tired of his mother's advice, tells Kotero to flee. They play until late at night and consume lots of snacks. Kotero is referred to as lucky by Takuya, since he has a lot of money to spend. When he finds out that Kotero's parents are not home, he returns to his house instead of staying at Kotero's house to sleep. Once more, Kobayashi brings Kotero money. By drinking her beer, Kotero tries to get Kobayashi to tell him the truth about the money, but she won't. Tomoru, Mizuki, and Karino consent to assist with the kindergarten festival. Kotero's information about tissues and how particular he is about them surprises Karino. Karino learns by television that tissues can be eaten, and he believes Kotero eats tissues. Kotero is told by him not to eat tissues any longer. Kotero used to eat more than one dish for dinner, but now he just makes one meal for Mizuki, Karino, and Tomoru. Kotero wants to play the part of the son that smiles since he is skilled at doing so. Kotero performs admirably during the Parents' Day assembly, and his teacher gives him high marks. Kotero tells her that his smile is similar to hers, and that he also has trouble smiling when he is weary. Kotero climbs mountains with a carpenter named Ryota. Once they had committed to going together to see the Perseid meteor shower. Kotero apologizes to Ryota for leaving the facility without telling anyone and for doing so. He learned how to use the camera from Ryota. He hands him his memory card, which includes the facility's memories. Both of them are glad to find shooting stars at night. Kotero delivers Karino's manuscript to a publisher the next day. He suggests that he eat healthfully and go home and spend time with his family. He is amused by the publisher Fukuno by watching Kanasaman toys in video games. Fukuno tells Karino that he wants Kotero to be more ecstatic and happy. A woman who is expecting tells Kotero that the baby is the consequence of the love of the mother and father, because the pregnant woman told him that her unborn child is a treasure for her, and her husband Kotero writes in his diary that he will work to be a treasure for his parents. Kotero's new neighbor Oda asks him to stay with him for a month so that he won't have to live alone. Karino is envious of Kotero for traveling with Oda. They eat snacks and take baths together. He is picked up from kindergarten by Oda as well. Karino is asked by Oda how much he knows about Kotero, but he refuses to answer. Kotero's father dispatched Oda, so he is aware of Kotero's tendencies. When Tomoru and Karino inquire, Oda lets them know that Kotero's father paid him to look for Kotero. Oda is being bullied by Tomoru when Kotero enters the room and they head to the bathhouse. Kotero inquires about Oda and whether he should tell his father about him. As soon as Oda leaves apartment the following morning, Karino, Mizuki, and Tomoru worry that Kotero's father may abduct him, so they accompany Kotero everywhere. Kotero gets tired of being protected by them and chooses to live alone to develop his strength. After a few days, Oda reappears and continues to travel with Kotero. While telling his father about Kotero, he supplied the erroneous address. Mizuki and Karino are informed that Kotero was aware that his father had sent him. Kotero believes that his father mistreated him because he was weak, and that his father will love him if he grows stronger. Kotero and Karino pledge to become more powerful together. Kotero informs Kaneshiro that he sounds like his father when he phones, pretending to be a child to con money from Kotero. The balcony has Mizuki's missing underpants. Kotero throws Oda a send-off celebration and gives him a magnifying glass as a gift. Kana, a classmate of Kotero's, joins him every day while they play at his residence. Kana's statement that playing with Kotero is not enjoyable surprises Karino. Kana's father is having financial issues, which Karino learns. Kana's mother is counseled by Karino to take care of the child's feelings. For Kana, Kotero creates a handcrafted game. Giving a classmate some fruits, Kotero counsels him to become more powerful like him. Despite having a fever, Kotero refuses to accept it. His classmate explains to him that he goes to the nurse's room because he doesn't want to spread his cold to others. Kotero goes to buy an apartment with Kobayashi. She brings him back to the home where he formerly resided with his parents. Kotero discovers the mark in the home while they are residing in the flat. When Kotero meets the boy, his younger brother and sister are also present. The boy asks Kotero to look after them for a little while as they are whining for food. He arrives much later than expected and is preoccupied with his snack. Kotero gives him advice on how to care for them and fulfills his mother's commitment. Kotero learns after a few days that they were abducted by the child service. Additionally, he learns that Tanasaman, his favorite cartoon character, is appearing in a film, and Kotero and Karino are informed by Mizuki of her breakup with her partner. Kotero tells her to leave her job and apartment as well for safety when his lover strikes her in the face. Kotero is crying, but he hides his face with a mask when Mizuki leaves the apartment because he doesn't want anyone to see. Kotero and his friends enjoy themselves greatly and eat while watching a movie with Karino. To Kotero's delight, Karino spends all of his money on them. Kotero declines their request to visit the toy store because he disapproves of Karino's happiness with his buddies. The movie Tanasaman is then shown to him by Karino. A few days later, Yuta, Tamaru's son, arrives here in stealth to meet his father because his mother forbade him from doing so. Yuta is immediately told to go home by Tamaru, who is furious with him for lying to his mother. Kotero reprimands Tamaru for his treatment of his son after he has left. Kotero is informed by Tamaru that he loves Yuta and he doesn't want him to breach the law. Additionally, he hints to Kotero that perhaps his father had a strong love for him. Teiki. A girl comes into the apartment. Kotero is likewise delighted to see Teiki, although he has the impression that Teiki doesn't enjoy children. He assures her that he helped his parents overcome their dislike of him and that he will do the same for her. Given that she has studied nutrition, she attends a guardian meeting at the kindergarten to look over the lunch menu. Kotero is gaining weight as a result of her overeating, she realizes. He consumes the leftovers of other kids. Kotero invited his 3 neighbors over so they could see his collection box of personal items. Kotero opposes Teiki's advice to throw away the gloves his mother used to wear when she touched him. Despite playing soccer, Kotero has little knowledge of the sport. His nose begins to bleed after being struck by a ball. Obed explains to her receptionist that he spends additional time talking with the kids while looking at their teeth. The doctor asks Kotero about his routine as he comes to check his teeth. He explains to the receptionist that a girl named Kano once had many cavities just like Kotero, and she later became emaciated. He fears the same thing will happen to Kotero, which is why he speaks to him while looking at his teeth. The fact that the child is unheard of in his family and has so many cavities is a clue. Teiki projects Kotero's offer to share his umbrella with her, because it was his mentor's recommendation he used to lend others his umbrella when it rained. He learned about the custom of sharing umbrellas from his father, who also explained that showing someone you care by wetting their shoulder is a sign of affection. Kotero and Teiki are sharing an umbrella and Teiki's shoulder is dripping with rain. Kotero is met by Sir Tasuku, who tells him not to get too close to Karino. Kobayashi informs Karino that Kotero wants the donations he receives to be increased. When Karino inquires, Tasuku responds that he needs money since he has decided to move in with Kotero. Together with Tasuku, Kotero moves into the orphanage. One day a pupil accuses Tasuku of stealing, but Kotero defends Tasuku. Karino believes Kotero provides Tasuku with his money, or that Tasuku stole it after learning that Tasuku is repaying his obligations. Tasuku receives a large sum of money from Kotero, who also warns him against stealing and lying. He tells Tasuku that when he lies he raises his finger. After offering him an apology, Tasuku begins working with Ryota. After being published, Karina's narrative has been well received. Kotero was picked up from kindergarten by Karino's lover Akane Nita. She visited Karino 3 days ago and was unaware of his relationship with Kotero. When she starts accompanying Kotero everywhere, he begins to feel like a burden on Karino. Kotero and Akane attend a show together, and Karino joins them. She advises him to focus on his manga script, rather than becoming too involved with Kotero. Karino informs her that Kotero is his source of inspiration. Kotero regularly visited the residence of outfit designer Tamamori. He gave him his custom shirts and washed his shirt too. Kotero kept going to his apartment for a month. He chastised him for ringing doorbells as well. When he came to know that Kotero didn't live with his parents, he became lenient with him. He handed him a variety of clothes of his choosing on the day of his departure. Kotero receives 5 newspapers each day from a delivery boy. Kotero advises him to assume the worst if he discovers a stack of newspapers on his door after more than 2 days. Kotero wants to accompany Karino to the Konomi station area, which is next to the flower shop. They arrive at a cemetery where his grandparents' graves are located. Karino observes the grave of Kotero's mother as he washes the graves. Kotero is unaware that his mother has passed away. He wishes to see his mother once more. Karino is unable to inform him that he will never see his mother again. Kotero declares Karino to be his devoted subject on the way back. Teiki and Tamaru are delighted to see Kotero as well.